What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about practicing and like how to practice, what to practice, all that kind of stuff. When I practice, I'm pretty specific and I do these 5 things in this order. Also, I'm still playing this Louis Carpini violin that I am absolutely obsessed with because it's so easy to play and it sounds gorgeous. I'm slightly obsessed with it. I did change to my bow because you know I love my Coda bow, but this violin's incredible. I'll put a link to it in the description if you care to check it out because it's amazing. The first thing to start out with is always scales. Like, I don't care if you're doing 1 octave scales or 3 octave scales or 4 octave scales, like just start with scales. They're so important. And every time you're practicing scales, like have something in mind for the day that you're like focusing on. So maybe you're focusing on your bow, like having smooth, long bows. So then when you're practicing your scale, we're gonna keep it super basic right now. We're gonna play a 2 octave G major scale. So say you're playing your scales and you're thinking about your bow and you want to go from frog to tip on every single note. So you're gonna start at the frog, obviously. Really challenging yourself to go from the frog to the tip on every single note. If you miss one, go back and do it again. Maybe your emphasis is vibrato, and so then on every single note, you're gonna have big, huge vibratos. I don't know what your emphasis is for the day, but pick an emphasis for the day, and that's what you're focusing on your scales. As well as intonation. Intonation should never be let go in scales. If you play a single note in your scale out of tune, go back and practice it again. And what I mean by go back is, let's say your A3, this note, was a little high. So what you're gonna do is when you play it, that's a little high, right? So we're gonna go back, and I would go back up to it, maybe play the next note, and then go back. Like something like that, like you're playing around that note that was incorrect and making sure that all the notes around it are secure. So when you hit the note, you nail it. I'll usually practice scales for like a minimum of about 10 minutes just to warm up and make sure I have it. So you're playing the scale like a lot of times. You're not just playing it one time and one and done and next. The next thing I'll do is exercises. Like I said, pick your emphasis for the day. So maybe your emphasis is vibrato. So that means that that day you're going to make sure that you practice your vibrato exercises, whatever they might be. Now, if you're practicing multiple different things, like sometimes I'll practice shifting and fast notes and vibrato. Put them all right here in this section. Practice those exercises. Practice all of those exercises right here in this part right here. If you need a shifting book to practice, I highly recommend this Shifting the Position book. It's absolutely amazing. This book has like literally transformed my shifting, and it is one of the absolute best shifting books you can get, in my opinion. I'll link it down in the description. And if you're trying to find a book for practicing fast notes, I got one for you there too. Shradic, The School of Violin Techniques, is an incredible book for practicing fast notes. This is the one where, I think you've seen me probably do this before, where you do 128 notes in a bow. Such a fun book, but highly recommend this one too. I'll also put it down in the comments or in the description. Then if you're practicing vibrato, that's something that you can kind of do in your own way, whether it's with a metronome or it's just counting your bow strokes, whatever it is that you want to do. I have videos on that too that I will actually put in the description in case you are curious. We're just linking everything today. Exercises go right here. The third thing I will do is a fun song or a review song, whatever you're thinking. So for instance, if you're learning Suzuki, you know that like you have all these songs that you've learned. It's so important to keep those songs in your repertoire and keep them fresh. So we're gonna keep this super basic. Maybe you're on Song of the Wind and you know Lightly Row and Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Guess what songs you play here? Lightly Row and Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Like, it's very important to keep your repertoire up. So if you're further along, maybe you're playing like a pop song you love, or maybe you're playing just any song you love that you can play really easily. I feel like this is like almost like a confidence boost as you're practicing because it's something you know, it's something you love, it's your favorite song. I feel like it's so important to just add like a review song or a fun song or just something to give you kind of like a moment because you've been very focused for your scales and for exercises, and now here's your like moment to breathe, and then you jump into the rest of it. So I love putting just something fun in the middle of my practice. Okay, so now we're at practicing your piece. Everything else we have done is extremely important. I would not skip any of it. But this is the most important part. It's kind of like the vegetables with your dinner. What I like to do is pick 3 things in my piece for that day that I am going to be absolutely so zoned in and focused on. So maybe it's fast notes. That day, you know, there's this section that you really have to get these fast notes like nailed. Or maybe it's an intonation, like whatever it is, pick 3 parts in your song where you're like, these are the 3 sections I need to get absolutely nailed today. And you're gonna practice until you've nailed them. So it's not like, oh, I'm gonna practice for 10 minutes in this section. No. We don't put a time limit on this, because if it takes you 5 minutes, great. If it takes you like 30 minutes, that's how long you need to practice it for. Oh, hey, if you're not subscribed to my channel yet and you've gotten any value from this video at all, I would love for you to subscribe and join our little violin community. So sometimes people ask me like how long I practice for, and there's really no like, oh, I practice for an hour a day. It's literally not like that. Like sometimes I will practice for 20 or 30 minutes, and sometimes it will be like 3 or 4 hours. It really just depends on how long it takes me to get through all the things that I want to work on that day. There's no like set time for me. Okay, the 5th and the final thing that I do, and this is actually probably quite controversial, is I play my piece through. Now, when you do this, don't play it like at top speed or anything like that. Like play it at a tempo that you can play it still beautifully and perfectly and really well, but play your piece through. I feel like sometimes you practice like all the different things and you never get to like hear the piece come together. And I think it's so fun to like hear it come together. It ends my practice session so well, and it makes me so happy to like hear the song and to hear how much I've progressed in it. So like just play your piece through. Like don't feel like it's a bad thing and you can't do that. All right, y'all, that's how I practice, and I hope this helps you in your practicing, and good luck with everything. Bye.